Hey guys, welcome to another video. I want to show you how I got these really cool printed pre-made boxes done on the xTool M2. First thing I did was went into my stash of pre-made boxes and grabbed one out and applied some double-sided blue tape to the back, or makeshift double-sided blue tape, and placed it inside of the M2. And from there, what I want to do is just make sure it's down pretty tight on there so it doesn't shift or move while printing, and then get right into the xTool software. From here, I want to make sure it's lined up with, using the camera and the auto measuring and stuff like that, and then get into bringing in some of my images that I want to print on it. First thing that I'm going to bring in is my site logo, or my personal brand logo, if you will, and place that on the lid of the box and just, adjust it to where it makes sense size-wise. Use your eyes, use your intuition on this kind of stuff. Next thing I'm going to do is bring in the QR code that links out to my site. I like to make sure I have a QR code on there just in case, somebody passes these boxes on somewhere, or they, get seen by other people, or somebody asks about, what is that? Who is that from? Easy access to be able to scan a QR code. And then, making sure that those things kind of face the right way when they're sitting on the boxes. We'll get into that a little bit more later on. Then I put the name of my site. For those that don't want to use QR codes and things like that, people like to just read and type. You got to really make sure that when you're branding stuff or putting your name on things, that you give all possibilities. Make sure you get a font that's really basic, really bold, that's easy to read for everyone. Okay, I think a lot of people make a kind of a mistake or a misstep on that, putting a lot of cursive or really hard to read things. When you're talking about things that you're either giving people or shipping, you want to make it really easy to read, clean, to the point. And I think that's really important. Then from there, I'm going to flip this around and place it on the other side of the box and all sides of the box. You really got to make sure when you're doing this kind of stuff, though, that you know which way things are facing, because if you don't face them in the right direction when the box is closed and sitting upright, that these things will be backwards. So make sure you double check that before you do that step. Okay. And then, just out of a habit, I like to make sure I'm putting the right kind of material into it so it knows what material it's going on. I'm going to reduce this down to an 80% though, because you don't really need to have it full 100%. Conserve your ink, save your ink. 50%, 70, 80% is totally fine. You're putting a dark ink over, a semi-dark surface. So this ink is transparent that comes out of the M2. And so that's going to be dark enough. And you can obviously make tests, on your own and figure that stuff out. And then we're looking at 3 minutes, 45 seconds, which isn't a long time for a single box. But if you're doing a batch of these, taking them in and out of the printer, doing all that, that could take some time. But these are really specialty things that I do sometimes for people. But if I get into a mass production, I would just have more units going at one time or something like that. Because, for me, something like this that's personal, but also, using as a branding feature, yeah, you're going to have to figure out a way to kind of mass produce or go quicker if you can. But the biggest thing that I noticed on this, or the most impressive thing I should say, is the quality of the print on this thing. I mean, you got to see how clean this is when it's going into cardboard. Now, a lot of times when things go into cardboard like this, they kind of spider out and kind of, absorb in and flare out, but this thing just printed super clean. And what I'm doing here is I'm kind of bending and flexing the box so it goes together easier. These pre-made boxes that you get have perforated edges on them and things that you need to be able to snap it together like this really quickly. So you got to remember to kind of pre-bend those little joints and things like that before you put it together, okay, officially. Because it won't go together quite as well. It might be too tight. Just want to sort of pre-put it together. Can't stress that enough. Okay, and then just put the tabs in, fold it down, and it looks pretty clean. Looks good. And then just kind of examine the box, make sure it looks great, like it does, and then I accidentally printed something where it wouldn't be seen. But again, once you open it, it's there, so that one kind of worked. Then the best part of the whole thing, I get to put in all the cool stuff that I made for people and putting it in these boxes. So there's stuff from the F2 that I did on the PLA. There's some wood stuff, some leather patches, full color coaster, custom sticker. Put this thing together and send this out, or just give it to people. All right, you guys, like, comment, subscribe, leave me some comments. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a good day.